It was 6 days before Passover when Jesus entered Bethany where Lazarus, so recently raised from the dead, was living. And Lazarus and his sisters invited Jesus to dinner at their home. And at the dinner, Martha served, and Lazarus and other friends were sitting around the table. And as the food was served and the drinks were poured, one of the sisters, Mary, came in with a jar of very expensive aromatic oils. And she used these oils to anoint and massage Jesus' feet. She even wiped them with her hair, and the fragrance of the oils filled the house. Now Judas Iscariot, one of the disciples, even then getting ready to betray Jesus, said, "Why wasn't this oil sold and the money given to the poor? It would have easily brought 300 silver pieces." Now he said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he himself was a thief, in charge of their common funds and embezzling them. But Jesus told him, "Leave her alone. She's anticipating and honoring the day of my burial. You'll always have the poor with you, but you don't always have me." There's this fascinating show on the Home and Garden Network called $1 Million Rooms. Now, if you haven't seen the show, the title is exactly what you watched during the half-hour program. People from around the world with more money than they know what to do with, renovating not their whole home, but a room in the home to the tune of $1 million. Everything from turning the rec room in the basement into a nightclub, complete with disco balls, to swimming pools in bedrooms. In one episode, a man in Australia wanted to upgrade the kitchen to be the focal point of his open concept main floor. And so he had the top of the line appliances special ordered and a prep kitchen built off the regular one for when he hired private chefs. But the real focal point was the hood range for the stove in this kitchen. Suspended from the ceiling, it was encrusted with $50,000 worth of Swarovski crystals. Now, I don't know about any of you, but I can think of better ways to spend $50,000 than on a hood range. Another show that aired a few years back was called My Super Sweet 16. In this show, each episode would feature a boy or girl about to turn 16 years old. And it would follow this boy or girl around as they planned the ultimate party to celebrate this rite of passage. Now, these teenagers hadn't turned 16 yet. They weren't able to drive a vehicle or vote or drink a glass of wine legally, but their parents were allowing them these ridiculous budgets to rent these lavish venues and hire bands and DJs. They were able to buy high-end fashion designer clothes to wear and purchase jewelry to flaunt. And at the end of the show, they would tally up the cost of the party and display it on the screen to see how much the teen had spent. $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 weren't out of the realm of possibility of what was spent. And this one time, even $500,000, $500,000 on a Sweet 16 birthday party. Now, I think we can all agree that these shows are extreme examples of extravagance. But in our gospel passage, we also hear an example of extreme extravagance. We have Jesus sitting down to dinner with Lazarus and Martha and a bunch of friends. When Mary, the sister of Martha and Lazarus, enters, and she has with her this pound of exquisite perfume, and she takes that perfume and she pours it all over Jesus' feet. And that pound is an astronomical amount. Now, Judas Iscariot happens to be at the party as well and keeping an eye on things, and he's clearly got a better sense of the market value of that perfume because he takes one look at it and he reckons it's worth 300 silver pieces. You see, 300 silver pieces is roughly the average yearly household income at that time. If we look at it in today's terms, that's around $50,000. And so the perfume Mary has poured over Jesus' feet that night is worth the equivalent of $50,000. What has this been poured out for? What is the point of this extravagance? Now, Judas, he's certainly not many people's favorite disciple, but in this case, he rightly points out that the perfumed oil that Mary has just wasted on washing Jesus' feet is worth an outrageous sum of money. It must have been a mesmerizing view for this crowd. First of all, seeing $50,000 worth of liquid, but also the fact that a woman of little to no means had this perfume. Where on earth did Mary get the money to buy such a massive quantity of it? Is this her and her brother and sister's retirement savings all thrown into one precarious investment?